your transmission, manual transmission. After you track the car a few times based on the manual, you're going to want to change the fluids. Some guys claim changing the fluids in the transmission will make it shift better. Some guys want it to run different fluids than what comes from the factory. Whatever your reasons are, the question is, how do I do it? This is probably the easiest transmission fluid change of any car I've ever done. And I think the reason why is the engine's way up there. And with that torque tube running the length of the vehicle from way up there at the little mini bell housing where you normally would have your clutch and then your transmission, that torque tube running the whole length all the way down to here makes the transmission sort of be in its own little special space, which is kind of nice. So to change the transmission fluid is literally as simple as it can be. On the driver's side, you're going to back that out. Next to it, it says fill, because that's where you're going to fill to. So you back that out. When I first cracked mine, the first time, it was under pressure. I'm not quite sure why it was under pressure, but I guess it's probably how GM filled it. So I had a little bit of stuff sort of squirt out and everything. That's fine. You just sort of are prepared for that now. So that comes out, and I leave that out for the process. And then over here, to the back of the car, right there, that one says drain. Very, very simple. So you pull that one, fluid runs out. I actually used my finger on the fill to sort of meter how much air was in to control the flow. Sorry about that. Control the flow out of this one. So this is where you drain. When it stops dripping out, you put this plug back in. And then you go back up here to your fill plug and you use your little hand pump or whatever tool you've got to move your transmission fluid from the bottle into the transmission. You keep going, bottle after bottle, until it starts to drizzle out of there. That's it. That's all there is to it. Once it starts to drool, you're done. What I will do is I will stick the tube way up in the transmission right at the end with the plug in my hand. I'll pump 5 or 6 times like crazy, and then I will stick the plug in as it's drooling out a little bit. And I do that because there's lines, they may have drained a little bit. The car may not be perfectly level, even though I have it on the lift. There's various other reasons. And whenever I pull the plug, well, not whenever, but typically when you pull the plug on a factory vehicle, some drains out anyhow. So I think they sort of always overfill it a little bit. And there's plenty of room. You can see how low this is in relation to how far up in there the body of the transmission goes. So there's plenty of room in there. A pump on one of those little bottle fillers is like 4 cc's. So if I have an extra, I don't know, 20 cc's in here, that's not a overfill condition that anybody's going to worry about. So that's all you do with this. I mean, it's simple. I guess the only risk is that when you're taking out or putting this plug in, you could smash and mess up this sensor if you're a complete freaking nut with a wrench and don't know how to control yourself. You probably are going to have other problems with your car, and this sensor will be the least of your issues if you're doing your own work.